Hey guys, Ranger here, and welcome back to another video, and welcome back to another episode reaction and review, and this is to the 7th episode of MLP FiM Season 9, which is She's All Yak. I'm just assuming that this is Pinkie Pie since she has visited Yakistan before. I'm just assuming that this is Pinkie Pie, so I'm not 100% sure, but I figure it is. So let's dive in and see what zaniness awaits us. And as anybody knows, I hate Prince Rutherford, so let's begin. Starting the video in 3, 2, 1, click. Also, someone made a mention to me that just perhaps I will continue briefly.
I won't keep you in suspense any longer. We're bringing one of Ponyville's oldest traditions to our school. The
Really?
Fetlock Fete.
The Wetlock what?
It's a pony dance party. They're the best.
I'm ready.
You don't need to do that, Ocellus. This year the event's at school and open to every creature. We're calling our dance the Amity Ball.
Even better.
Love it.
Yona not know Amity Ball dance. Yona only know traditional dance of Yakistan. Go like this. Ball dance like that?
Not exactly. It isn't just one dance. It's a whole night of them. Plus, an awesome party.
And we'll have all the old Fetlock Fete traditions. The Pony Pal contest, the Lucky Pot dinner, you'll love it. So like this says, get your Pony Pal and come along.
Wanna go? I got nothing better to do.
You had me at dinner.
Now, who wants to help me hang more posters?
Me! Sure.
Hey, Yona. Want to be my pony pal? We can enter the contest together.
But Yona yak. Yona not pony.
So?
Pony, pony, more pony.
Oh, that's just a poster. Come on. It'll be tons of fun together. Promise.
Okay.
You have a
Yona
crush
go
on her, don't you?
Sandbar.
Oh, great. I'll get the tickets. See you later.
You have a crush on
Yona
her, don't you?
not let Sandbar down. Yak best to be in pony pal. But Yona not sure how if she not pony.
Ow!
Oh, terribly sorry, Yona. All these dresses I'm sewing for the dance have me completely frazzled.
Dress? Yona need dress for dance? Yona have lots to learn about being best pony pal.
Okay, first off, someone made a mention to me that in regards to the episode, I believe it was, someone made a remark, something about what, I think it was the point of no return, that I said I had a grim sense of humor, and that generally MLP doesn't give me many opportunities to make grim jokes, and someone remarked, wait till the next episode. So,
Yona interrupting?
Oh, well, not interrupting exactly, more like blocking the flow, stopping me from what I'm doing. So, yes, interrupting.
I think I missed
What
that in
can
the
I do
last
for you,
episode, though.
Yona?
Yona not know Yak needs special pony dress for dance. Yona no can wear what Yona always wear?
Yona could. I mean, you could. But the Fetlock Fete, or whatever Twilight is calling it, it's all about a tradition. There's a certain way to do everything at the dance.
Yes! That what Yona want to learn! How to do all the pony things, even if Yona has to wear dress.
Well, yes, if that's what you really want.
Yona be best pony pal for Sandbar.
In that case, at an elegant affair like a pony dance, one must converse in a sophisticated fashion. Talking with Brussels sprouts in your mouth helps you to learn to articulate. Take a mouthful and repeat after me. How kind of you to ask me to tea. May I offer you a glass of punch? The weather is quite agreeable today.
Yona like Brussels sprouts.
Let's move on.
Okay, I'm getting a vibe that they're gonna try to change
But first, let's find
Yona,
the right dress.
but Sandbar likes her the way she
Wow,
is,
purple
so
taffeta,
like it's gonna be the
frosted
scenario
chocolate.
where
Gold brocade.
she
one
thought
of
she had to
my
change,
favorites.
but he
Yeah, I
liked her the
like
way she
brown.
was, so she didn't have to.
Earth tones. They're so
Earthy.
earthy, aren't they?
I called it! Oh my
Want
gosh.
something to make you stand out.
Yona not want to stand out. Yona want to fit in.
Quite. And by the time we're through, it'll be like you've been going to pony
I love this
dances your
piano.
whole life.
The more you
A
know
song!
how things are done, the more confident you'll be. There's more to a dance than just having fun, and there's no better teacher than me.
Dang.
See,
Oh, Yona, see,
when I'm finished with you,
you'll start to fit right in. Listen to me when I say, once you learn the pony way, you'll start to fit right in. Right in. No need to wait another day to be part of our smart soiree. The perfect dress, a color, all the rage, but still unique. Now lose the braids, try a style more fantastic.
That's like your hair.
Do a hornicure and a deep freeze. We'll dry shampoo this, whatever your hypothesis. Too curly, too blue, too retro, too new, too twilight, too furry. We'll find one, don't you worry. Choose what you want to be and be it. Picture you to see and see it. I'm
Whoa.
there to guaranteed you'll fit right in. My plan, my grand design. Your friends will thrill to find a new you that's too divine. Yeah, you're not gonna fit right in. Right in. Listen to me when I say.
Hey,
once
that's
you
the-
learn pony way, you'll start to fit
That's the picture from like everyone from the show that I've seen before. Ow.
I almost forgot.
May have a
the
broken
most
leg now.
important part of the ball.
Oh, Yona already have Pony Pal.
Oh, not that, darling. But dancing, and I know precisely who can help.
Who? Oh boy.
Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy good at dancing? Don't be so surprised. I'm awesome at everything. Except for baking.
There are two traditional dances that every
That
pony
was
does
adorable.
at the fete. After a few days of practicing with us, you'll know them both.
And fit right in.
Absolutely. We'll start with a slow dance, the pony
Oh, boy.
cotillion. That's Fluttershy's specialty.
Oh,
boy.
I wouldn't say specialty. It's just fun.
That's
Here,
adorable.
Yona. I made you a chart.
That's the chart that.
All
Whoa.
you have to do is follow these dance steps. You'll learn them in no time.
I'm thinking back to that Goofy cartoon. I think it was How to Dance.
Now just start walking. Step on whatever color I name. Let's begin. Blue, red, step ahead. Green, black, now step back. Now you try.
Blue, red, step up. No, Yona, start over. Blue, red, green, black. Yeah, step back.
Good. Now, black, green, red, and blue. Red, black, hold 1 and 2.
What?
Red, blue, red once more. Green, black, blue, red 3 and 4.
My memory doesn't have that kind of capacity to remember all that in one go. Oh, you show off! You little fuzzy show off.
Maybe we should try this again later.
Don't worry, Yona. That was the hard one. Mine's way easier.
No, it isn't.
A little dance called the Pony Prance. The key to this one is speed.
Oh no.
Come on, Yona, try it. Just get with the flow and let yourself go.
Oh boy. And we have.
Whoa there. Yona, like the flow and go.
And a few $100 in damages. Okay.
Welcome to Sweet Apple Acres, Yona. Rarity tells us you need some help getting ready for the big dance.
Some, ha! Indeed. And we only have a few more days.
Well, you've come to the right place. Because if you ask me what my
Okay,
favorite part
yeah.
of dance is, I'd say everything about the dance. But especially this! The Fetlock Lucky Pot Dinner!
It's part of the Ponyville dance tradition. Every pony brings a dish to share. And we swap them without knowing whose is whose. Although my lucky pot probably gives me away.
You can cook anything you want. But can I suggest, oh, I don't know, maybe
Okay.
cupcakes?
I already told Yona a little bit about
I
that
know these
tradition.
characters so
She's
well,
even brought her own
apparently,
lucky
don't I?
Bucket.
Yak buckets are best buckets. Yona think make traditional yak dish. Tree root stew. Extra fiber.
Oh, I bet!
I'm not sure. So, just in case, let's get thinking.
Yep. Take a bite of that. Hello,
Sugar
Diarrheaville.
butter icing. Then we mix and we beat and we pour into pans. We bake. And now you try it. Achoo! Well, that's one way to mix it.
Let's try something a little simpler. I'm sure we can do something with these. Okay. Applesauce it is.
Blue, red, green, blue.
Oh boy. How the... Never mind, it's Pinky. Hazmat suits?
How kind of you to ask me to tea? Blue, red, step ahead. How kind of you. Green, black, Yona, step back. To ask Yona to tea. Black, green, red, and blue. Red, black, hold 1 and 2. Red, blue, red once more. Green, black, blue, red, 3 and 4.
Look! She's dancing! How about that? And she's good!
Yona, if someone at the party tells
Maybe
you
it's just
they're
me, but I think they're
thirsty,
trying something new with the
you
facial
say,
expressions with this particular episode.
May I offer you a cup of punch?
Why, Celestia,
I think she's got it. She's really got it.
Yona, you did it!
You dance great.
And-
You're so well spoken. You'll be the hit of the ball.
You've mastered so many pony ways and grown a lot in the past few days. You've shown a turn that has earned our praise.
And now I fit right in.
Dang, that duet.
Hello, every creature.
And now Sandbar is not gonna be... Hey, was that Trixie?
Scales and tail, spinning your favorite tunes all night long. So
Are
welcome
you
to the
supposed
Fetlock
to be
Thing, the
Dead Mouse?
Every Ball.
You're supposed to be Dead Mouse, aren't you? Adorable. That was also cute. That was also
I'm
the
just glad I'm
scene
here
of
with you
Twilight and the crowd
At
right
least
there.
I'm not the only non-pony in the crowd.
You're not still worried about that, are you? Like Headmare Twilight said, this is a dance for every creature. There's no pony pressure.
You should have told Yona that.
Well, what do you mean?
Didn't you hear? Our teachers have been helping her get ready for the dance. She's been taking lessons.
she's gone full pony for the dance.
All for you.
For me?
Oh boy!
Why?
How kind of you to ask me to the soiree, Sandbar. What? You look so weird.
Yona?
Quite. Oh, I do hope I make a good pony paw for you.
Of course you do. But, Yona, you didn't need to do any of this.
And why are you talking so funny?
I am not talking funny. I'm fitting in.
Could have fooled me.
You
You look absolutely scrumptious, darling. Why don't I get that for you?
You made a lucky pot?
Precisely like ponies prepare.
Welcome, every creature, to our school's first annual Amity Ball! For those of you who've never attended a Fetlock Fete, we can't wait to show you some of our fun traditions on this special night. So, Spike?
Scales and tail?
Right. Scales and tail. Let's get this party started!
Oh yeah, party ponies! It's time to raise the roof and stomp your hoof for the traditional first dance of the night, the Pony Cotillion!
He's either supposed to be Deadmau5, Daft Punk, or was it Marshmallow Man? I think it was.
Ah, Yona know this one.
I apologize.
You do?
I'm probably wrong on that one, but
Indeed. Green, black, then step back, shall we?
Wow! How did you learn this?
I had good teachers.
Hey, Trip. Do it. Yikes!
Yona! Are you alright?
Yona never practiced dance with dress on. I mean, may I offer you a cup of punch?
Time to shake things up a little! That's right, every creature! It's the Pony Prance!
Maybe we should sit this one out.
No! I do so love the pony prance.
Well, I really like the music. If you're gonna DJ, I'm thinking, okay, I love this. I'm thinking to myself, come on, play some house mixes, okay? Something electronic. Ow. Ow. That's why you... Yeah, putting on the big head might be a bad idea.
It's okay, Yona!
Just stop bouncing.
We got you!
Wait, come up.
Oh crap! Brakes don't work! Oh boy.
What a calamitous accident!
Yona!
What happened? Are you all right? No! Yona not all right! Yona want to be alone!
Sandbar, go talk to her.
Yona sad. Yona sing sad song. Sad Yona. Yona no blame bird. Yona no want to be around Yona either. Yona sad.
Oh, treehouse.
Yona sing sad song.
Yona?
Help Sambar find Yona.
I know you pretty well by now. I figured you'd come here. Besides, it's where I'd go if something like that happened to me.
Sambar means something awful and embarrassing. So awful Yona cannot come down from treehouse ever. Will Sambar bring Yona food and water?
You know, it really wasn't that bad. I don't think any creature hardly even noticed. Well, maybe one or two didn't, if they happened to be in Canterlot for the day. But anyway, it's all over now, so will you come back to the dance with me?
Yona disappoints Sambar. Yona not make very good pony.
Why would you think you disappointed me? And who said anything about having to be a good pony?
Yona just want to do all the right pony things and fit in at dance. Then maybe Sambar and Yona win Best Pony Pals contest. Instead, Yona win Worst Pony ever.
That's not true.
Really? Sambar, name two ponies worse than Yona.
Cozy Glow and Sombra.
Okay.
Sambar right. They worse.
Yona, it doesn't really matter if you're a great pony or a horrible pony. You're the best Yona I know. That's why I asked you to the dance.
Really?
I never wanted you to be anything other than what you are. My friend, Yona, the Yak. Ah!
How cute.
So, what do you say? Let's go back to the dance? Don't worry, I'm with you.
We all are.
Are you alright? We were so worried when you disappeared like that. Yona fine, but Yona sorry. Not mean to make such a mess and ruin the pony dance.
It's not your fault, Sugar Cube.
It's the opposite. If anything, we should be apologizing. I thought we were just teaching you how to have fun at the dance.
We never meant to try to turn you into something you're not.
It's okay. Friend helped Yona feel better.
And that's why we're giving you this.
Wow.
No way! The Pony Pal Prize!
From now on, it's the annual Amity Ball Award for Friendship.
No poniness required.
We all decided that you and Yona totally earned this.
Your actions tonight exemplified the true meaning of friendship.
Congratulations, you two.
Oh, there's more than friendship there, I can tell you that.
Yona! I'm glad you're back. Every pony wants to learn that crazy dance you did.
Yak dance is easy. Yona teach. If every creature wants to learn,
And
It's
you
them.
have insurance.
You asked for it, and
Why do you
DJ
just walk
Scales
around
and
it?
Tail is gonna deliver. Every creature join Yona for the Yak Yakistan Stomp.
I'm just kind of... Well, this might cause some damage, possibly. Okay. This was a cute episode. This was indeed a very sweet episode. And it really does... There was a very interesting message right here, and it's kind of been mentioned a couple of times before in MLP. One such episode that it was mentioned in, kind of similar. It's about acceptance. You know, just being yourself. And another episode that kind of did this was It Isn't the Main Thing About You, where Rarity's hair was completely destroyed, and she thought that was pretty much the symbol of herself, and that she needed her hair to be able to shine, but she took her friends to help her realize that she can shine from the inside out. Here, Yona, she wasn't a pony, and so she wanted to fit in. And this can be, and I've kind of seen kind of similar gimmicks before, where someone, and this did not take as drastic a turn as that, but I have seen where people have tried to fit in before, to the degree that they made major changes to themselves that it caused major negative repercussions later on. It severely affected them and ended up extremely bad for them. Here, it did turn out bad. It backfired, but it still had a happy ending. But that isn't always the case. Realistically, I have seen before that a person can make a change for themselves and it can have a very negative impact. Like a very emotional and sometimes even physical or mental lasting effect on someone. Something that isn't just going to be taken care of within just like a night or a few days or even a week. It can have a lifelong consequence. And it is dangerous to try to change yourself to try to fit in. And it's a gimmick that we've seen before, we've heard about before. Someone tries to change themselves to try to fit in. And sometimes in doing that, they lose sight of who they are. They lose themselves. They forget who they are because they're trying to fit in and be someone that they're not. And so they end up sacrificing their own sense of self to try to become someone else that they're not, just to try to gain credibility or popularity or praise or admiration. And in this case, Yona wanted to try to impress Sandbar. She wanted to try to fit in so that she wouldn't be such an oddball, or what she thought was an oddball. And so she tried to change her appearance to try to fit in, to try to blend in. And there is kind of a bit of a something that I could say to this, which is, you know, sometimes you can fit in. You can fit in with something. But I kind of think that, but I do feel 100% that sometimes, depending on the situation, it's better to stand out. It's better to not blend in with the crowd and just strike out and do your own thing and be unique. And just, don't try to blend in, don't try to be somebody or something you're not, because you look at the way that, one way that I look at it is, I imagine a sort of conveyor belt with the exact same item going down that conveyor belt. Imagine a gray can of spray paint or a gray can of paint, all turned in the exact same direction going down a conveyor belt. You fit in. And so you can say that you fit in, you blend in, but where's the originality to it? Like, everything looks the same, everything feels the same. But then here comes a blue can of spray paint. Here comes a blue can of paint. It's turned differently, and it's bright blue, and it stands out. Sometimes it is better to just be yourself and stand out and not worry about trying to fit in, but just do your own thing. And sometimes people want something or someone else to blend in. Other times, people can have more admiration for you for doing your own thing and striking out and being unique, as opposed to trying to blend in. And honestly, I can really admire someone who is not concerned with trying to fit in and blend in with society or with a clique, but instead is just doing their own thing and happy doing their own thing. And basically, if people don't like you or respect you because you are the way you are who you are, okay, maybe you don't need that person in your life anyway. But if a person wants to be a friend and want to get to know you, then, they'll come to accept, or they'll like that difference about you. They'll like that uniqueness about you. And with here, I think that's something that is very, very clearly illustrated. Is Yona was concerned. She saw this dance and she wanted to fit into it and be a part of it. And this is interesting because it's here you have, this is Ponyville. It's mostly ponies. And now you have these other creatures here. And it's different because you have these other creatures that are now part of this. They are now experiencing all of this stuff. People have come to accept them, and now they're they are fitting in. They stand out, but at the same time they blend in. They stand out because they look different because they're different creatures, but at the same time they blend in because they have likes and dislikes just like everybody else. But here, this was something that was reserved at the time just for pony pals, and it was understandable because at the time you didn't have any other creature there that would participate in this sort of thing. And it's kind of similar, because there have been things in life where it was an old tradition for something, and it took, it was just another link in a chain, and it was just another link, the exact same link, but it took just one moment or one person to break that link, be a break in that chain, and start a new link, start something different, start something new and fresh. And here, that's pretty much what is illustrated here. This dance was originally kind of just for ponies because that's all that were there. That is the only creatures that were there were ponies. Because other creatures participated and because Yona participated in it, they decided to change it and make it more for everyone, not just for the ponies, but for any creature that wanted to participate. It was they included that diversity. They opened it up to include that diversity so that others could have the chance to participate. And it's kind of, there is a relatable sense to this that I can personally see. And one comparison that I can make to this, and this is a minor comparison, but I'm sure others know of a lot better comparisons, but one comparison that I can make right off the bat to this is kind of going to car shows. I have been to I have been to a car shows before that had just a few small categories. And basically what they did was they like best Chevy, best Ford, best Dodge. Now this did include all of the groups together, but it created a problem because it didn't have a larger categories to categorize different different styles, 670s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and so it included everything together, and so people had to judge everything as a whole. But I've been to other car shows, and then they just gave out prizes for best, like best Chevy, best Ford, best Dodge, best custom. And again, it did not, because it included everything as a whole, it didn't really allow for a lot of other people to have a chance to participate in it. But I've been to other car shows too that had more categories. Like first place for 70s, first place for 80s, and so forth. And it allowed for more people to be able to have a chance to participate and actually win because they expanded to have a greater diversity, be able to have more categories. And so that's kind of a similarity here is, this included, but it's kind of switched. It included just one specific category, which was ponies in the beginning, and it kind of made the other creatures feel like they couldn't participate. But they opened it up and expanded it to be able to include others. And so they opened that up, and because of that, now other creatures can have a chance to participate as well. And that's that's a similarity that I see with that. And I know others can make a much larger correlation to other things as well. But it's understandable. Like, this isn't a racist issue. It's understandable that this would just be for ponies in the beginning because before it was just Ponyville. It was named Ponyville because there was no other creatures that lived there. There was no other creatures that made a home there. Every other country, and it's kind of like real life. It's pretty much like real life. Just like with the different diversities, with you have different types of people living in different areas. And I'm just going to use like my own area for example. You have one part of the town where the more wealthy people live. You see the bigger homes, and you pretty much know whenever you're driving through there that that's the wealthy part of town. These people, they are, they're bankers, they're lawyers, or treasurers, and they make a freak ton of cash, and so they're the wealthy part of the town. And then then you can drive to a different location. You can see double wides and trailers, and it's people that are don't make as much money, and so you can kind of see. That split up. It's not, you don't see a fancy looking home right beside of a trailer. You don't see that. And so, it's kind of like that in a sense, because here it was just ponies before, but now they've been able to open their minds and their hearts, and now other creatures are joining in as well. And it's interesting that it's kind of interesting. And this is a show about friendship, but there is a very interesting dynamic that you can see beneath the surface that you don't really see, but it's something that you can witness if you're careful. You can witness it, and that is that all these creatures here, some of them are friends, yes, but there is a concern about keeping bonds between other nations, between other countries, good. And because they want to keep the peace between every single country. And that's kind of like what is going on in real life. You have different countries that you have the US, you have US, Japan, China, Russia, North Korea, South Korea. And so basically, while we might be on good terms with other countries and so forth, that doesn't mean that everybody's going to feel the same way. And just like here, there are those in every country that wants to fight other countries. And then there are those, like myself, who would say, why can't we all just be friends? Why can't we just get along and not want to nuke each other into oblivion? And that's pretty much what is going on here. You have those who want to be friends, who want all the nations to, be at one with each other and not fight. But then you have other people, other characters that want to start a fight, who want to start a war. And so, it's kind of about trying to keep the balance, trying to keep everything good. Sensible people, sensible, mature, civilized people will know to not make everything a cultural or racist issue. But there are those insecure, insensitive people and easily agitated people who want to make things, blow things completely out of proportion, and want to make things a cultural or racist issue, or racial issue, and try to cause problems between different colors or different countries. And so here you see a kind of maybe like an underlying dynamic where you have something beneath the surface where they want to keep everything good. And most are, but in the background, in the back, beneath the surface, there are those who don't want that. But Yona wanted to be a part of something that was just for ponies before, because it was only ponies that lived in that area. And so she wanted to be a part of it. And the interesting thing that we witness with this particular episode is that Sandbar seems to have a crush on Yona, which is cute. I have to say, it's cute, and it's very, very unique that, a pony would have a crush on a yak. It's interesting that I think there definitely is a crush going on here between Sandbar and Yona, which I think is cute. But it's interesting here, and I have to say, it's cute. It's a cliche that I have kind of seen play out before, where one wanted to try to change themselves because they thought it would impress the other, but it turns out it didn't. They want, the other wanted them to be themselves, and it's interesting to see that here play out in MLP. But one thing that I really have to admire about this episode as well is the intelligence that Yona does display in this episode. Like even at the end of it, with the sarcasm, whenever she questions Sandbar about did anyone else notice, and she gives him this deadpan look. She gives him this deadpan look that says, "Really, bro? Really?" I love the intelligence that Yona displays here. Like, she might talk in kind of a third-person perspective, often or all the time, but she's not dumb. She's not dumb. She's intelligent, and she might not have the exact same intelligence as some others, but then again, nobody in real life does. It's, you can't. Personally, I don't believe it's fair to compare one person's intelligence to someone else because you're selling them both short. But she is intelligent, and she's intelligent enough to be aware that whenever Sandbar was trying to make her feel better, he was just blatantly lying. She was intelligent enough to be aware of that, and I really love that she's not dumb, but she's very much intelligent. And I do have to say the dynamic here between Sandbar and Yona is really cool. And I also think it's cute because, like, the moment whenever she ran off, I said, Sandbar, go after her, because I can't help it. Whenever I see things like that in cartoons, and I see, like, one of the characters go running off into the night because something happened, my first thought is to the other one that was with them. Go after them. Go talk to them. And that is something that irritates me sometimes, is whenever someone doesn't. One thing that I can point out is with Mickey's Magical Christmas snowed in at the House of Mouse. I love that special, but it annoys the crap out of me at the end of it whenever all of Mickey's friends see him walking in a depressingly towards the doorway that leads to the roof. And I would have loved that special so much more if it had been Minnie that followed him up to the roof and helped him to see the light, talk to him. But no, it had to be Jiminy Cricket. It wasn't Minnie. If I was in that situation and my girlfriend went off somewhere, I would be the one. I would just let her. Even if she said, "I just want to be alone," I would still follow her to try to help. You know, I would, because I would want to help. And so I'm really glad here that Sandbar did not listen to her and followed her anyway, and did help her. And he was very rational, very calm, and he wasn't like he did try to make her feel better even with blatant lying, but at the same time he did help her to feel better. And it's really sweet. It is really cute. But there was different things, of course. I mean, like I said, Yona wanted to try to change herself. And she tried to change many different aspects about herself. She tried to change her hairstyle, her physical appearance overall. She tried to change how that she acted, how that she spoke. She tried to change her hair. She tried to change her physical appearance. She tried to change how she spoke. She tried to change her elocution, um, the way that she presented herself, the way that she carried herself, even her personality, to try to fit in and be, try to blend in with the others. And the others here, Rarity, Applejack, Rainbow Dash, Pinkie Pie, Fluttershy, they all tried to help in the best way that they could. And it did work. But I mean, and they weren't in the wrong. They weren't in the wrong for trying to help, because they kind of also thought that it would help, because that's what Yoda wanted, and so they thought it would help. But there was another little thing that I have to admit that I loved here, was this little conversation between Sandbar and the others. Is this little conversation between them, where they're like, "Yo, word on the street is, she's trying to address to impress you." And this is like so much the teenage and young adult aspect here. Whenever Gallus pulls Sandbar's tie, like his tie, it's pretty much the only thing that he did not say here was "lover boy" and like let it flip back. That's the only thing that didn't happen. But I love this conversation between them because it felt natural. It was just a bunch of friends just kind of laughing, giggling, and having fun, and talking to a guy that was supposed to have pretty much a date. And I love that little bit. I honestly love it. It's cute, it's sweet, it felt really natural and realistic, and I love how that played out. I would love to see more of that. But of course, whenever Yona makes herself present, Sandbar realizes that this is not the look of the girl that he was interested in. She changed her hair. She changed her appearance drastically, even her grammar, and now she doesn't speak in the same way, and it just felt like it was a totally different person. And I was very concerned with what was going to happen here, because I was afraid that Sandbar was going to end up saying something to her about it, and she was going to end up getting upset. But instead, what happened was, it turns out she had no practice wearing the dress, and so because of not knowing how to dance in a long dress, and I'm not a female, obviously, just in case nobody has actually noticed, I'm not a female. Big shocker, right? So I've never danced in a dress or in heels or pumps, so I can't say that I know from experience whatsoever that it's difficult to dance in a long dress with heels and pumps. And to be honest, I would rather not put on a dress and pumps and try to experience that. Although I really have no shame, so if I probably would do that just to, get a laugh from people, so you can watch me fall on my face. I would do it just to make people laugh because I have no shame. But I've never done it before, so I'm sure there are some females out there who can say, yo, that is hard as crap. Like some women can wear heels and a long dress just fine and move about, but I know there are others who are so much more comfortable in jeans and sneakers because they can move around easier. So this is pretty much hashtag relatable for some women right here. Especially, I would imagine if you have like the long dress that it doesn't just come down to the top of your feet. No, it like drags the ground. The kind of dress where you have to like hold the front of it up. Again, no experience. I've just seen this. Where the dress where you have to hold the front of it up so you can move about. I would imagine that would be one of the hardest. I imagine some women probably consider those dresses to be death traps. I imagine some probably do. That's probably one of the reasons why that Minnie wears such a short dress all the time, is so that she has freedom and of movement of her legs. So if she has to help Mickey chase down Pete, she can. And if she has to raise her leg and kick Mortimer in his nuts, she can. If she has to raise her leg up high to kick him because she's short, he's tall. So yeah. Another thing that I loved about this was the reintroduction, was the reuse of the treehouse, and we got to see Yona there hiding out. And again, it was interesting here because Yona was disappointed because she let Sandbar down, and she was embarrassed because of what happened. But it was also sweet that she was also disappointed that she let Sandbar down. She felt that she had let him down, and I think she probably realized that she had allowed herself to become something that she wasn't. She was concerned because she was a yak, and Sandbar was a pony, and most of the others were ponies, and that she wouldn't really fit in. But Sandbar reveals to her that he doesn't care that she's a yak. He doesn't care about that. He still wants her there, and they're still totally cool, and that he wants her to come back to the dance. And it was really, really sweet. Honestly, I gotta say, I love this scene. The rest of the young six sitting at the table here, like completely bored. I honestly did feel bad for them here, but at the same time, this feels so natural. I love it. Like Silverstream, she's just sitting here eating popcorn. I think she's pretty much like a stress eater, and so she's eating popcorn because she's stressed. Ocella, she's just kind of slumped over the table. Uh, uh, Gallus, he's just kind of sitting there, and Smolder, she's just leaning back with her feet up on the table, just kind of leaning back. I honestly love the diversity between these characters, the differences in their personality, and how they handle themselves, how they carry themselves, and I love seeing this between them. And I know that a lot of people can relate to each of these characters individually. Uh, I know that a lot of people can, and both male and female. And I know there are people out there who can actually, male and female, who can relate to each of these characters individually as well. This moment, whenever Yona walks back in, and she feels uneasy at first, but Sandbar tells her, "Hey, I'm here for you. I got you back." That's very cool. That's very sweet. That is honestly great. And then all the rest of them are like, "Hey, we're here for you as well. You're not here by yourself. We're all here." I love this because this is real friendship right here. Like even though she embarrassed herself, they're there. They're not laughing at her. They're not laughing at her at all, or helping, making fun of her. No, they've got her back. This is friendship. This is beautiful, and I absolutely love this. Yona realized that she tried to change herself, and she shouldn't have tried to change herself. She should have just been herself. And she learned that, sometimes, she learned that just be yourself. And, if someone really likes you, then then they should. I'm not going to say that someone will accept everything about you. I mean, even the closest of friends can have little quirks about each other that they don't really, that they don't like, that may annoy them. But real friends will know not to let that get in the way. Even if there's a few things about each other that you might not like, real friends will know not to let that get in the way, because if there's more good in the friendship than bad, you're going to focus on that good and ignore the bad. And I really think that it was very sweet here. This was a very sweet episode, and Sandbar liked Yona for who she was. He liked her unique style, her uniqueness with her personality, how she did things. He liked that about her, and he wanted her to just be herself. And that's a very sweet thing. That is a really sweet thing. And like I said, it really does go to show that, sometimes, I'm not going to say that 100% being unique all the time is great, because sometimes you might have to fit in. But there are times whenever being unique is better. Being unique, doing your own thing is better than trying to blend in and fit in try to go with the flow. Sometimes you just got to strike out, deviate from the path, and be different. And this was a really sweet episode. This was a very cool episode because of that, and I loved it. But there was some other interesting little tidbits that I noticed in this episode as well that I wanted to talk about. First off, like I said, I think that they were trying something new with the facial expressions in this episode, because there was just some differences with some of the things that they were doing in this particular episode, with the facial expressions and how the characters' mouths were moving, and it seemed a bit more like the way that the characters' mouths moved in this particular episode and some of their facial expressions seemed just a bit more relatable to the MLP movie, just in the way that the characters handled, like the position of their heads, their facial expressions. This looks like something that would have been present in the MLP movie. Maybe that's just me, but that's what I personally see, is something more akin to the MLP movie, with some of the facial expressions. And of course, the MLP movie did have a very different, animation style. I think the show itself is animated in Flash, and the movie was animated in Toon Boom. But there seems to be like I don't know if they did. Haven't noticed it in the other episodes prior to this, but it seems like in this episode they might have been attempting to do more with the characters, trying to blend both the movie style and the show style together. It's a theory, but yes. And I absolutely loved the song I love the song with Rarity here. It was just such a beautiful song. And Tabitha did such a fantastic job singing as Rarity with this particular song. I mean, she did such a beautiful job with Rarity. This is just an absolutely gorgeous song, the way that she performed it. It's so beautiful. Tabitha did such a great job. And there's other little gimmicks with this in this particular setup. I think one of the other characters has the same hairstyle, and Rarity totally disses it here. And then she makes a mention about too furry, and it's opalescence. But another thing to notice is that Rarity's kind of spent a lot of time standing on her hind legs in this episode. And I'm not going to deny, Yona did look good as a pony. Like her pony design, she did look good like that. And they used the backdrop as a puzzle here. They used the backdrop scene of all the characters together. This is interesting. This is really interesting that they use this entire backdrop of all these characters together. I've seen this. I think this was a poster. I'm not really sure, but I keep thinking like this was a poster. But it shows like all the characters together in this, or at least most of the characters here. But yeah, it was really cool to be able to see this. I'm surprised that they actually used this. But like I said, it was interesting because Rarity did spend a lot of time on her hind legs in this episode, and I think a good portion of the fandom imagine that the characters are bipedal, that they can stand on their hind legs. There's been plenty of jokes, plenty of art of not just the characters but OCs standing on their hind legs, totally fine. And then there's been other things where like other fan works, as well as official, like with the first Equestria Girls, where Twilight comes out of the mirror and she's standing on her hind legs, but she's uneasy with it. So there's a bit of a contradiction on that one, but I like to imagine that the characters can actually stand on their hind legs. They just, they're used to walking on all fours, but I imagine that they personally, headcanon for me, they can walk on their hind legs and stand and be just totally fine. It's just, they just don't. But I love it whenever we get to see them walking on their hind legs. I love seeing that. It's not often we get to see it, so it's a very unique treat. This is cute. Fluttershy blushing with this, and her holding her hair like almost in front of her face. That is just so adorable. And Fluttershy dancing was just so adorable. It was, and it made me think like Fluttershy is almost doing like the waltz with this. But I love it. It's adorable, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to deny Fluttershy was speaking kind of too fast for me as well. Like, I'm the kind of person, if you're going to give me steps like that, I can't, like, give me a couple of steps and I'll do them, and then add on a few more, and I'll do those together, but don't throw several at me at once and expect me to do it. I'm the kind of person that, give it to me little piece by piece at a time. Otherwise, my brain will overheat. And Rainbow Dash's dancing style was more akin to, more of like a more upbeat track that sounded like something from, it sounded more jazzy, it sounded more like a jazz track, something that you would have heard. I would have imagined Rainbow style would have more been like rock or metal, but it's interesting to see this perspective of her as well with her dancing. And like I said, hazmat suits. This is what the characters wear in Fallout Equestria. Okay. This is the hazmat suit that they wear in FOE. Okay. And like I said, Spike. What? Spike here reminded me of Deadmau5. With just, the big head and the big eyes. It reminded me of Deadmau5. But I couldn't help but think to myself, why didn't they have DJ Pawn 3 here as the DJ? She's the DJ. However, I think that they did it. I think that the reason why they didn't have Pawn 3 here was just so they could make this gag with Spike. I mean, why did they have Pawn 3? Like I said, I think that they did this just so they could make the gag of Spike being like a combination of Marshmallow, Deadmau5, and Daft Punk. I think that's probably what they were trying to do here. Like, he's kind of like a combination of Deadmau5, Marshmallow, and Daft Punk. So that's very hilarious. But awesome, because all three are awesome. And like I said, I had to wonder, Spike, why did he walk? Let me verify that. I'm wondering why Spike didn't just walk around the DJ booth or the turntable, because there's nothing right here that clearly indicates that he could have just walked around these speakers to get behind the turntable. I don't understand why that he had to jump across it later. I don't understand why that he had to do that. I would have just walked across it, because jumping across the turntable is not really a good idea, because you risk damaging the turntable. Maybe breaking off some buttons or accidentally turning up or turning down the volume. And if you have the levers, if you have the knobs turned in a perfect way, you risk undoing something. And there's also risk of damaging a record, breaking one. There was a major risk of jumping across your own equipment like that. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend that personally. I would rather take the slightly longer way around and just walk around it. But I did enjoy this episode. It was a cute episode. It was a fun episode. And it was really cool to be able to see. And I did really enjoy seeing that with Yona and Sandbar. And oh boy, the fan art that's probably going to sprout up from that. But it was a really good episode. I did really enjoy it. And I'm wondering if they're going to carry that further with Sandbar and Yona later on. I don't really know. They may not mention it anymore. They'll just leave that as it is, and that way, here's you. Pretty much, they gave us just a little bit. It's pretty much like giving you, like, they set up the canvas. They started painting a small part of a picture, like a quarter of a picture, and then they hand you the brushes and say, "Here, you create the rest of it, what you will." And, it's left up to the fandom to create more. But yeah, I did enjoy this episode. It was very much relatable. You know, about changing yourself sometimes can. I mean, sometimes people have tried to change themselves to try to fit in, try to blend in, and sometimes it can have a good ending. Not changing themselves, but like they can learn their lesson and everything can be cool. But there have been times whenever it has had a lifelong negative impact, and so it's one of those situations where it's kind of the the reasonable thing someone could have asked is um why didn't why didn't Yona maybe just ask Sandbar? But I can understand her not, because I've never really seen anybody ask like that before. But I this was a very very sweet episode. So again, everybody that worked on this episode, thank you everybody so much for this episode. Thank you all so much, and thank you guys again for joining me. Hope you guys enjoyed, and again, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks again for joining me. Hopefully, I'll see you guys in the next video that I do. Take care.